back at it again, guys. Pro tips and hacks here. So, guys, I took a call today with the client that they're like, let's say, elderly care, like living, or like where they come to your house and help you with your elderly parent out in the Houston area, right? So it's an agency that's helping out these particular clients. That's the niche that they deal with. And I looked at the website, guys. So today, what I want to cover is like best practices. You guys know that I'm all about the best practices, foundational stuff, and what I saw today, and then kind of what I even discovered as a pro tip, and hacks for you guys to take as a business owner or as an agency. So one of the things I noticed with this particular site, and I don't want to put them on blast, but they had like 14 H1s. The UR structure, that what you see in your browser, wasn't like structured properly. Interlinking wasn't done correctly. So the site looked okay, but the on-page SEO to let Google know, what they're about, where they're at, right? Their domain authority was like a 2. So I want to give you some tips on best practices for on-page, right? So one of the things that we look at is in your browser, right? Your browser, especially within your services, you want the keyword. Remember, Google doesn't rank the whole domain name. They rank URLs, right? So with your URL in your services section, especially, you want your keyword first, what you're going after, location, and then your brand last, right? Literally, that's the cadence that you want to put in your title tag. And then in the URL, whatever your service may be, what was it? Elderly care, I think it was for them. Elderly care is in your URL. Simple, straight to the point. It's in your URL. It's in your meta tag description as elderly care, Houston, and then the brand name, whatever that keyword is in your title tag. Then it's in your H1. And then we go a little bit deeper into the content. Then it's in the first sentence of the first paragraph, right? So there's no mistaking it, like when Google looks at it, what it's about, right? Where are you? What are you about? What's the keyword? And it gives it to you. So this site had about 38 keywords that they're ranking, all brand name, all the main website, the main one. So what we want to do is spread that out, make your website fat and deep, right? As far as like each service has a nice structured URL, it's a title tag in your H1, get that. And then ideally you want one H1, and then you structure it down from there. So this was a big thing for them. Now, guys, don't confuse Google by adding a lot more in your URL. Make it nice and simple, guys. So I wanna go through these tips real quick. Title tags, descriptions, and the content. We covered that. On page, on your website, best practice tip number 1. Best practice on page, best practice tip number 2. Guys, it's in your interlinking. So what I told this client is, like, they have their services page, right? And within their services page, each service, no matter what it is, plumbers, painters, doctors, dentists, it doesn't matter, lawyers, it doesn't matter. Each service kind of almost blends in to the other service, right? So lawyer, DUI, expunction services. Hey, DUI, let me defend you. Don't let this be on your record. You can go into this here. Expunction services, right? And then criminal record, hey, if you have a criminal record, we can defend you on that. Whatever the case may be, elderly care, in-home, right? In this case, it was in-home. What was some of the service? Like traveling. They had unique names that I wasn't too familiar, but the best practice, it doesn't matter. You can fit these no matter where you go. So on your services, right? Tip number 2, so on your services, interlink each service, right? Interlink each service. So one is pointing to the other and to the other. Number 2, supporting content, blogs that you can like. So you have your main keyword, elderly care. Set up about 5 blogs, 5 different pieces of content, 5 articles, right? And then point those to that service. And then the one article points to 2, 2 points to the blog, and then 2, 3, 3 points to the, not the blog, but the service, and then 3 points to 4, 4 blog or article points to the service. So you have this like juicing up, this interlinking within itself, and you have supporting content. Interlinking, guys, get that dialed in into your website. That's on page tip number 2. On page tip number 3 is optimizing. I did a video on this yesterday on how to find keywords, especially with your GMB. But like I said on that live, everything starts YouTube, on page, ads, Google My Business. It all starts on keyword research, right? So make sure we're optimizing the keywords that you're in there. Put them in the right places. Don't get it all spammy, but work it in. Keyword optimize it. Do some research on your keyword. Tip number 4 for on page, your images, guys. Your images, make them unique names. Put the keyword in there. Put the location in the unique name title tag on there. Don't make your images so big that it takes forever to load. Optimize it. Google right now is taking like speed, user friendliness, and your images play a big part of that. Get that optimized. I know that can be a pain in the butt, and I'll get to why you should hire somebody to do that for you and how you can leverage Rank Fortress or any other professional to help you with this setup, right? Where are we at? Images tip. That was tip number 4. Tip number 5 is the technical on-page structure. I think I talked a little bit about that. The URL, the way the name is, make that simple. That does take an effect. On-page structure, like look at your density, the keywords that you have. Minimum, right? 1,000, 1,200, 1,500. You hear William talk a lot about that. Like when he looks at a page, his minimum is 15, right? But the reality, guys, is that depending on your niche, depending on where you're at, the population, if we're getting chased by a bear, we just really need to be faster than our slowest friend, right? Same idea with content. We don't want to be the outlier, somewhere in the middle, kind of what Google kind of takes and make it unique. And I'll get to more of that as far as the content, on-page technical stuff, H1s, guys, on the footer, right? Get your Google Maps set up in there. Connect the dots, schema, interlinking. Get that, dialed in. The user experience. Tip number 6, right? Here's your tip number 6. User experience. Get those dialed in. The images, keyword structure, schema, right? Get that all dialed in. So guys, as far as like content, frequent asked questions, right? Here's another thing that a buddy of mine kind of suggested. When you're writing content, and you can beat the big guys with this, with your content, when you write it from your experience, right? Elderly law or elderly daycare, right? Was the website I was looking at. Write the experience of whatever that particular subject is. When you're writing about it, keep in mind my experience that I had with this. That'll give you a unique point of view on how you're writing and developing content for Google to see it and for your user. If you write it from that point, your experience, just keep that in mind when you're writing. This was my experience with this service, or how we're better. Write it from your experience, and that will definitely get you some unique content for you, and it's easier to expand it. So again, guys, to recap, on page SEO best practices, unique titles, just like we saw with this client, elderly care, it was wacky. 15 H1s, right? Best practice number 2, interlinking with articles, with other services, let them bleed. Tip number 3, optimize the keywords. We talked about that a little bit on the previous video that I did yesterday, I believe. Optimize your images. Tip 4, tip 5, the technical SEO schema, right? Backlinks, backlinks also, to your supporting content. And then user experience as far as speed, optimize those images, guys. Now, tip number 7, bonus, right? Why? And I experienced this myself. So we all use different tools. I use Ahrefs. I use I use Google Search Console. You can look at all this stuff. One of my buddies, Jeremy, you guys know him. I've spoken about him on my Facebook. We partner up like on-page stuff. He's my go-to guy. He uses Screaming Eagle. And one thing he found, and I said, this is why you want to hire a professional, because of the tools that I couldn't see, that we can't see just looking at it, right? We get these different tools, Summers, Ahrefs, Lead Snap, Local Dominator, Up Schema. We have all these tools that we can utilize to make our lives easier. Now, my buddy Jeremy, he did a Screaming Eagle report, and he found that whoever built the site obviously they use some type of template, and then they put in the information, right? And boom, they delivered it. What they didn't do is they didn't clean up the template. So within the site, it was picking up, it had to do with technology, exercise that we can see, but I couldn't see it. But Google sees it. It sees it within the page and how it's structured. So we need to clean all that up, guys. Let's not confuse Google on stuff that we can't see with certain tools. And that's why we should hire a professional, right? Because of the tools, we don't need to pay for them, right? And yes, they're worth it because they can find stuff like that to give you a cleaner look. And like I advise them to do is, hey, don't get SEO. You want to do SEO on a dirty house. You want to bring furniture into a dirty house. Let's clean house. Let's wipe it. Let's fresh paint. Let's take the junk out, right? My neighbors here. My neighbor moved out. They took out all kinds of stuff. The carpet cleaner, you might hear, you might not. He's here. Clean it up for the new people to come in and do something with it. So that's what I told him. Do not put SEO on a project or a site that is not like dialed in. So when the SEO hits, you get a better bang for your buck, right? Clean it up, tying it up, right? So that's my bonus tip number 7, as far as like, who do we leverage, or hiring a professional so we can leverage their tools and their knowledge to do the right thing and find things that we don't see. So this goes for all my business owners. It doesn't matter who you are or what type, not who you are, but what type of niche. It goes with all of it. Any home-based services, this applies, right? If you're not hitting it hard and getting recognized, and besides your homepage ranking, there's something going on with your keywords that you're trying to rank for. There's one thing not ranking at all, and there's another thing ranking super low where you can't even see. And these people weren't even ranking at all. So Google's like, I don't know who you are, what you're trying to do. Let's not confuse Google exactly where you're at, what keyword you're trying to go for. Guys, pro tips and hacks. Hopefully this was useful, kind of like what we're looking at, why it matters. It does make a difference in getting that cleaned up. I appreciate you guys. Much love, much success. I hope this brought value where you can apply it to what you have. Rankfortress.com, pick your services. We do have a on-page technical SEO, and let me show it to you. And let me bring it up, and that way you know where to find it, how you can leverage this as far as the local SEO. Let me find it here. Doop, 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 doop. And it's our technical on-page SEO that we can do it for you. Let me see. Starter pack. Am I in the right section? Okay, give me a minute, guys. I'll find it for you. Point it out where it is. Here we go. SEO services. Local directions, keyword research. Okay, so we have keyword research, core web vitals as well, advanced schema as well. So I'm going to point some of these services out. Let me go present. Share screen. Okay, let's see here. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let me see. Present. And I'll point it out to you guys so you know exactly. Share screen. I'm going to share my entire screen. Share screen. Click it. Boom. Okay, guys. So here it is. Log on to Rank Fortress under SEO services, right? Under SEO, this is what keyword research. I talked about it. Everything starts off with keyword research. So here it is, keyword research and content silo creation, so you can get a visual how that looks. Core Web Vitals, that's also a good one. As far as on page. And then we talked a little bit about schema. This is our schema location. So guys, you can find this under services. Okay. SEO services, right? And let's see, CTR. And let me see. There we also have a like on page technical. They moved it on me. Where are you? But with those will also help you in fix and clean house with that. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. That's not content. Okay, so these are some of the stuff you can leverage to help you with your SEO or your on page, guys. So let me stop sharing. So hopefully this was of value. I appreciate you guys once more again. Much love and success to you.